Hey, welcome to a special emergency. I don't know what you want to call it, but this is a special edition of the Longhorn Confidential. It is Sunday, December 3rd. We're recording this in the evening time after kind of a historic day on the 40 acres. I don't think there's many Texas fans who are disappointed after this weekend. On Saturday, Texas rolled over Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game. Today, they got their first ever invitation to college football playoffs. And the reason we're recording this at 6:30 at night was because after that, across the street at the Moody Center, the Texas women's basketball team recorded their biggest win of the season, beat number 11 UConn. Saw CDC over there, saw Steve Sarkisian. They both looked very happy. There's not a lot of unhappy people over on the 40 acres. But Danny Davis, the Austin American-Statesman, as always, joined by Thomas Jones, Kirk Bowles, Cedric Golden. We're going to talk about it. Texas is the number 3 seed in that aforementioned playoffs. We're just going to start there. Said, since we didn't go to you first much earlier this week on our Tuesday Longhorn Confidential, we'll start with you. Is Texas the third best team in the country? Did they deserve that number 3 seed? We'll talk a little bit about whether the committee got it right with some of those other teams, but as far as Texas goes, are they the third best team? Was that the right seed?
Little old me gets to go first. Oh my God.
Make it sing.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to give honor to God. My mom, who's no longer with us. They may be the best team, Daniel. They're ranked third, but they may be the best team in the country because of how they play. They know how to win in different ways. And they got it right by putting them there, giving them a chance to win a national championship. It would have been a travesty if they'd been left out. And I'm telling you guys, it's great to see Steve Sarkisian build this thing and get them to the point where they have gotten recognized as one of the 4 best teams in the country. And I like where they are. That's going to be a home game for them in New Orleans. And Duck, I'll throw it to you. I do think they got it right.
Hey, Texas is favored to beat Washington. So I don't know about number 1 said, but maybe number 2. I mean, yeah, they did get it right. And Texas playing their best ball of the year. They had the most impressive conference championship win. Now, granted, Oklahoma State's not a great team. What are they, like 8-4 now? Not a real good defense either. But they look so dominant, score 106 points in the last 2 games. And they're just impressive. And yet on top of that, the best non-conference win, double-digit win on the road at Alabama. Yeah, they're deserving. And I think when they came up third, I don't think we were really surprised, but I think maybe a lot of people around the country were, because it seemed to me, and I was on the conference call with Boo Corrigan, and like I said, it almost seemed like they knew Texas was in because they wanted to put Alabama in, obviously. But if you're going to put Alabama, you got to have Texas ahead of them. So much deserved, and great day to be a Longhorn.
DJ?
Yeah, I'm really surprised the CFP committee had the cojones to leave Florida State out. I really am. I do think Texas and Bama are better than Florida State. I think that'll show in the semifinals. I'm just surprised they actually did it. I'm glad they did it, and not just because I get to go to New Orleans, eat some gumbo and etouffee and all that. But Texas and Bama, just the eye test, the resume that they're deserving. I think Texas is deserving of the 3 seed and Bama 4 because Bama lost to Texas. Makes sense. And we don't say that much about the NCAAs.
Yeah, stop with all this New Orleans praise. I saw you campaigning for a trip to Pasadena earlier today. You and other media members. I guess we'll kind of segue right into it because it's kind of along my line of thinking. Sure, the 4 teams that are ranked, Texas deserves to be third. I personally thought they deserved to be 4 because I thought Florida State, as an undefeated team, should have been 3 and should seamlessly found that 3 spot. But we got Michigan 1. We got Washington 2. We got Texas 3. Washington and Texas will be in the Sugar Bowl. And then 4 will be Alabama, which will be Michigan in the Rose Bowl. That That leaves out Florida State, which went 13-0. That leaves out Georgia, the two-time defending champion, which was undefeated until they lost a 3-point game yesterday in their conference championship game to Alabama. So obviously Michigan, Washington were shoo-ins since they were undefeated in conference champions. But those other 4 teams, the Texas, the Alabama, the Florida State, the Georgia, did the committee get it right? Were those 4 teams the teams that should have been in? Or should Georgia be upset? Should Florida State be upset? I personally think Florida State should have gotten in as opposed to Alabama. But we know the SEC kind of runs things, and that was never going to happen. Kirk, since you were on that call with the committee chair, what are your thoughts about just kind of were the 4 best teams in this playoff?
Yeah, 2 things real quickly on Georgia. It's hard to imagine them not being one of the best 4 teams, having won 29 in a row and 2 national championships.
Wait, whoa.
You don't get in based on what you did last year.
That 29 don't matter, dog. We're talking about 2024. We're not talking about the best program. We're talking about the best team right now.
Sentence?
But when you go off the rails like that, I gotta check you. Sorry, dog.
I'm saying they didn't deserve it. I voted Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama in my AP vote. And Georgia didn't deserve it because they lost and they created no margin for error for themselves with a weak-ass non-conference schedule of Tennessee, Martin, UAB, Ball State, and Georgia Tech. So, and here's the thing about that. Here's the other reason they don't deserve it. It's not just you're playing cupcakes. You're assured of a win. And you have no emotional investment in those games. And there's less chance of physical injury when you play weak sisters like that. As far as Florida State, I feel bad for them, but they're not the same team. They're a diminished team without Jordan Travis, who could have been in New York City with the Heisman vote with Penix and Daniels and Nix and maybe T'Vondre Sweat, maybe. That's a joke. But it's like if you took Jared Verse, their elite pass rusher, off the team, would they be the same team? No, they're not. They're not the same team, and they showed it the last 2 games against Florida and Louisville. And to that point, before I end, Texas lost Jonathan Brooks, 1,000-yard runner. He was looking like the equal of Bijan Robinson from last year. They lost him, and they had 0 drop-off. In fact, they've even played better. They just have been as good as they could be the last 3 games. So injury is critical, and it was part of the criteria for the selection committee.
TJ, was that your top 4? Was that what you were expecting today?
I'm with you. I thought Florida State would get in. I thought it would come down to Texas and Bama, but I don't think Georgia had a case. I agree with Doug. I mean, just that schedule is terrible. The SEC East is the most overrated division in football. It's not a great football division. It's just not.
Right.
You can't use, well, I'm an SEC member as criteria. It's not good enough. And the facts point that out. So yeah, I was happy with the selection committee. I thought it was smart, and I thought it was courageous to put 2 teams with 1 loss ahead of an undefeated Power 5 champion. Surprise, but I think it's worthy.
Said your thoughts as you were watching from Tylertown.
It's a spot, man. It's a spot. I was selfishly, I'll admit, pulling for Louisville on Saturday night because I thought that if Louisville won, that Texas would get in and we'd get to go to a CFP. But after Louisville lost, I really believe that Florida State would get in, even though we know they're not nearly as good without Jordan Travis manning the helm. And so the committee, I thought, gave us the best 2 games we probably could have gotten. Georgia, you know what, to play somebody in non-conference. And Duck, I know we're going to address this as a group next year when we're covering the SEC. We're going to, we know that Texas is playing Michigan next year. They're automatically better than anybody that the that the other team's going to play. You know, the best win by the SEC non-conference this year was last night. It was Louisville. Florida State over it was Kentucky over Louisville last week. And that's not good enough because we saw Louisville at full strength. They were horrible. They were horrible. So I just think that the SEC's got to be better in non-conference. And like TJ said, the SEC East, I'm sorry. It's Georgia, it's Missouri, and it's a bunch of busters after that. It don't impress me. The SEC West is as good as any division, but from top to bottom, I'm not feeling the SEC right now.
I'm with you.
Steve Sarkisian, when he was talking to us, kind of did bring up the point of, obviously he has ties to Alabama and, still has some love for the Crimson Tide, but he was happy that they didn't necessarily get punished for scheduling a game like Texas and losing, even though, Texas did kind of go in there and dominate. But like I said, I think if you go undefeated in a Power 5 conference, I think you deserve to be playing for the playoff. But I guess it's a matter of, are you taking the 4 best teams today, or are you taking the 4 best resumes throughout the season? And I think probably it is a little tough to argue that as of today, if Alabama and Florida State were to play, that Florida State would win that game. But it's unfortunate for the Seminoles. You don't really like to feel sympathy for a lot of people these days. I maybe actually feel less sympathy for them and their fans. They keep doing that chopping, but kind of is what it is, and we'll keep it moving, and next year won't be as much of a problem with 12 teams, although I'm sure the 13th team will be just as upset as the 5th team today.
Tough. That's tough. So what?
You go.
If you're
I mean,
13th,
you go to March Madness, and the 69th team is always still upset every year when they get left out. So it's a never ending problem. But
win your conference tournament. Win your conference tournament, you'll get in.
Let's quickly talk about the Sugar Bowl. We'll have plenty of time to talk about this over the next month, but just kind of initial thoughts about the Washington Texas matchup. Obviously, both fan bases got to see each other last year at the Alamo Bowl, which we do not have to go to this year, which I am very happy about. But number 2 versus number 3, Washington undefeated, Pac-12 champion, Texas Big 12 champion, maybe the hottest team in the land right now. TJ, we'll start with you. Just kind of what are your initial thoughts about this matchup?
Initially, I think Texas is as complete a team there is in the country. I think they can win a national championship, but I think Washington is a terrible matchup for them. Michael Penix is going to be the best quarterback they've seen. This will be the best receiving core that Texas has seen, and we've seen a lot lesser passing offenses light up that Texas secondary. So I think Texas would beat any of the other teams in the 14 playoff. I think Washington may be the one team they have the most problems with. That's my initial thoughts. So I'm leaning toward Washington in a high scoring affair. I think the over-under, I think it's 63.5, which is really high.
Go over.
I'm going over, but that's a high over. So I'm thinking Washington is really going to test that Texas secondary. It could be a long night for Texas defense.
Sted, what are your thoughts a month out about this matchup?
Yeah, listening to TJ, I heard that Price is Right music. Boom, 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 boom. After they lose, Debbie Downer over there. He ain't lying though. He ain't lying. That's gonna be a tough matchup for those Longhorns, and they got to get Ryan Watts healthy.
Yeah.
Got a month to get him ready, get him healthy, and get Jahdae Barron back closer to 100%. I think that Quinn Ewers usually shows up for the big games. He played well against Washington, so in the Alamo Bowl. So I think it's going to be a shootout. I think both teams going to be in the 30s, and the winner might even be in the 40s. I think it's a 42-38 type of game. I'm rolling with the team that's been winning since the beginning of the season. The Texas Longhorns are as good as we think they are. And the last 2 times I've been to New Orleans, they beat Tulane 49-0, and they beat Georgia 28-21, I believe. So they like New Orleans. They like the big sleazy. And the Longhorn Nation is going to show up. That Superdome's going to be 75%, 80% burnt orange. And I think the Horns are going to get it done. And boy, our lives are about to change. They're playing for a national championship.
I would
I'm
like to
getting
point
paid the
out that
same.
I'd
I'm
like to
getting
point
paid the
out
same.
that all teams, both of these teams, have been winning since the beginning of the season. It is the playoff. Kirk, your thoughts?
One more than other. Just saying.
Well, keep in
Hey,
mind, Washington's pass defense is ranked 122nd. Okay.
say it again, Doug. Say it again for the people that don't hear very well. One more time.
122nd out of 133 teams. Okay. So they've got their own problems as pass defense. Like TJ said, their receiving core may be the best in the nation. I mean, Rome Adunze is up for the Blitnikoff. He's like, I think he's fourth in the nation in yards. He got over 1,300 yards. He's got 13 touchdowns. He's terrific. And Jalen Pope, another good one. They don't run the ball quite as well. Dylan Johnson's been kind of on a heater the last 5 games, over 600 yards in that game, and very good. But I think their defense can be had a little bit. And they're going to find tough running against this Texas defense. They're ranked 4th in the nation now, give up 80 yards a game. So, then you got your revenge thing. Texas is trying to pay back Washington as they did Alabama and Tech and TCU, go down the list. So they embrace the hate.
Check off those boxes. Check those boxes.
They're checking it. And like you said, I think it's going to be lopsided in the bleachers too. A lot more Texas fans. So I think I don't think it's a bad matchup at all. I think it's Washington. They're 24-2, I think, the last 2 years. Terrific program. So ought to be really good, but I think Texas has what it takes to get by this one.
Hey, Doug, you remember in 2002 when Texas played Tulane? That whole city was burnt orange. They took over New Orleans, and I expect more of the same this year. And those fans can't play in the game, but you can't tell me that fan support and a raucous crowd don't mean anything. I think Penix, I love watching. I can't wait. Michael Penix is my second favorite quarterback to Jaden Daniels. So I can't wait to see him again. And those receivers are electric.
I'm gonna give you another over under real quick. 790 yards passing. I'm being serious. You want some of that action? Hit me up. 790 over under passing yards.
So about
I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go under there because the Horns gonna run the football. I'm gonna go under.
They're gonna have to be keeping up.
I think it's going to be nice. I think last year, for various reasons, and you don't want to fault Bijan or Roshan for making some decisions and DeMarvion to get ready for that next stage of their life. But I thought Texas was a little cheapened talent-wise by just kind of those guys opting out. And, there was some injuries, Xavier with his hand issue, which obviously was a huge factor, assuming he's able to kind of get healthy with his ankle this time around. And Ryan Watts is able to get right, which Steve Sarkisian was confident in. This should be a full strength Texas team. You'd expect the Washington sideline to also be healthy. So it'll be kind of nice to see both these teams after a month off, just kind of at full strength for this matchup, because we didn't get that last year. And if this game is being played next weekend, I think Texas would be the clear favorite, just because Texas is so hot, and Washington has had a couple struggles the past couple weeks, including against a bad Washington State team a couple weeks ago. But with a month off, maybe Texas cools down a little bit. But I trust there's Texas talent. I trust Steve Sarkisian and giving him a month to prepare for this Washington team. But we'll also have plenty of time to make predictions. But early on, I kind of think a full strength Texas team is going to be the team to beat, even though they're the 3 and Washington is the 2. But we will have plenty of time to discuss this matchup over the next month. We just kind of want to get on for a couple minutes tonight and talk about this, because we know everyone in Texas land is very happy tonight and ready to head into this next week. They're on cloud 9, whether it's because of the basketball team, whether it's because of the football team, whether it's because of various things going on campus. But yeah, thanks for listening. Or TJ.
One more question for you guys, real quick, short answer. What's your go-to food dish in New Orleans? Danny.
Go to what?
What's your go-to food dish in New Orleans?
Oh,
gumbo.
Okay. What about you?
I'm
not a huge seafood fan, but I'm sure I'm going to hit
Then
up.
you don't need to. Then you don't need to be there, David. Won't you
I'm
go
gonna
eat
hit
some
up my,
Mexican food in San Antonio?
gonna
That's
hit
where
up
you
my
need to
guy
go.
Max Thompson for some suggestions. I'm sure there'll be plenty of stuff. Last time we went there, I did not starve. Found a really good chicken place to eat. Remember Malcolm Roach gave us a couple suggestions
Yes, he did.
last time we were in
That's
town.
cool.
So I am my expense report's going to be fine without this. I'm not concerned about it.
You
But
can load up on beignets.
yeah, beignets, there you go. But yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching us on YouTube, listening to us wherever you get your podcasts. Statesman.com. There is so much content on that thing. You are going to be able to read it for days. So be sure to check us out on statesman.com. But we appreciate you supporting this podcast and all of our endeavors, and we're going to have plenty more over the next month or so. But yeah, glad you all enjoyed the weekend, and we'll see you all down the road. Deuces.